Hello, everybody out there in Facebook land. I am so happy today. I have a dear friend that, well, maybe I shouldn't say how long we've known each other. We've known each other, no, we've known each other for at least 30 years. And it's my great pleasure to have him here. I remember I was in Jersey when I first met John Christian. He was working with a guy called Paul Solomon, who's one of the great motivational coaches that I've known, a personal coach, a life coach. He was way before Tony Robbins, and I got
way before most of them.
way before most of them.
It was really, yeah.
So John is an amazing guy. He is really living life on his own terms. He's an actor, he's a model, he's a singer, he's a profound coach, he's a presenter, he's a keynote speaker, a whole bunch of stuff. And it's my great pleasure to have John on here with me. Welcome, John. How you doing?
Andy, nice to be doing this with you.
Absolutely. So what have we got now? We're morning here in Los Angeles. And close to London.
Here.
It's 6 o'clock, just after 6.
It's starting to get dark now. We've had a lovely sunny day, actually.
Well, maybe you could just talk a little bit about what you're doing and about Paul Solomon, and that'll give me a chance to just go and share so that your people can see this as well. So,
yeah, that'd be good if we're online in the UK as well.
Absolutely. Let me go make that happen.
Let me know when you made it happen.
Yeah, no, they'll go.
Talk on.
Yeah, keep talking.
Hey, look at this. It's like this in studios, you know. As soon as you go live, guess what? Things go wrong. Lighting, sound. Anyway. But yeah, Paul was my first mentor in terms of personal development, self-confidence, self-esteem, in a very real way. He was the most profound speaker I've ever heard, even to date. And he was a great visionary as well. And he really understood human nature. And he understood that life itself is our school. And each of us have come here on the spiritual level to learn the things we most need to learn for spiritual growth and development, or put in practical terms, for development of character, because we have an integral spirit. And this is what's still kind of missing a lot out there in the marketplace, because we don't have enough forums that are really taking the lid off and having a look at how the ego or the personality self is the only thing that ever gets in our way. So the Buddhists have a lovely saying, which is, there's only one enemy, guess who it is? And there's only one battle, and guess who it is? And when you stop the battle, things start to work out. So I was very fortunate to spend 17 years around Paul. And I kind of found him when I was just coming out of a period of success as an entertainer, and was still kind of finding, how come I've got the success, and I've had the recording success, television, radio, great audiences, and yet there still seems to be something missing. So I'd end up sitting in the dressing room going, so what next? Another television, another adoring audience, all those kind of things. And when I met Paul, he really helped me to understand that what was missing for me was a real integral sense of my own self-worth and self-esteem. So although I developed the skills as a presenter and an actor, and I was confident because of my skills, I still deeply lacked self-esteem, in the sense that I was always, without consciously knowing it very often, looking for all rightness from every audience, looking for all rightness from every performance. So really also believing I'm only as good as the next performance, rather than what Paul helped me to pay attention to and take responsibility for, is my own integral goodness, and to know that for myself and to trust that in myself, and therefore to bring that quality of inner feeling and self-comfort, trusting your own thinking, trusting your own beliefs, trusting your own attitudes and your own talents, and bringing that through your performance, and most of all bringing it into your daily life.
That's awesome. And John, can you just tell us quickly the difference between esteem with confidence and self-esteem? Because there is a difference.
Yeah, there definitely. I think the confidence for me is when I set out, I didn't have any confidence. So I remember the first time I ever took the stage, I was so terrified. My mouth went completely dry. My lip got stuck up there. My hands were shaking. My nerves in my cheeks were shaking, and I stopped breathing properly, so my brain wasn't clear, and I couldn't even hear the rhythm of the musicians behind me. And I had what that performers call the worst moment. You wish a big hole would open up and you could disappear in it. So the thing I most feared came upon me. That was in the beginning, because I so lacked self-confidence. But I kept going back. And even my own father said to me, "How do you do that, son?" And I said, "You know, Dad, I honestly don't know. You watch me get sick with stage fright and nervous all day just for this performance." And I said, "Something just keeps making me," which now I know is an intuitive level of our own intelligence. So fortunately, I kept going, and I learned through the school of hard knocks and the school of show business how to develop self-confidence, confidence in my abilities. So that's confidence for me in something we do. Self-esteem is another thing altogether. Like I was mentioning about Paul helped me to learn that self-esteem is truly self-respect, self-trust, to the point where we actually feel, not just think or desire, but we actually genuinely feel comfortable with ourselves in our own skin. Even if we've just messed up, we feel comfortable enough with ourselves to take responsibility for the mistake we've just made and correct it, learn and move on really fast.
That's great. That's great. I mean, there's many different ways to get to become confident, and that's what we're going to discuss here. So there's no right or wrong. There's no one method is better than another. So you know, this is great. So we're going to share with you today, everyone, the different ways that you can do it. And so try them out. There's going to be some which you're going to be drawn to and work well for you, and you find easier. And that's kind of what it's all about. So, okay, John, so what I've done is I've just shared, I can't share on your timeline. So I've just sent you a message in your private area. So you can maybe copy that onto your timeline and then people can watch. I've put a little link. So hopefully people are in one of the messages I'd already got there, so people can see it there. But I don't know if you
mean to do that now.
Yeah, and I'll just go and chat. I'll just flip cameras while you're doing that, and you're still
right. So
I can still hear you, but I'll keep.
So I just click on the video.
Yeah, if you go into your messenger side, then you'll see the link in there, and you can just copy and paste it. Just copy and paste it onto your timeline. Okay, so there are different ways, like we say, about confidence, how to get them. So one of the easiest ways I can suggest, here's one, there's lots more coming, is to follow the advice of a friend of mine. I met him while he was at a conference. He was actually at something called Date with Destiny with Tony Robbins. And we were doing, Tony was working a lot with male and masculine and feminine energy. So he was showing the difference because there's an imbalance now. The role of the male and the female has changed, and because of it, the masculine and feminine has also changed. And he was working with this to get things kind of into better shape again, because there is an attraction between male and female, and masculinity and femininity. So he got a whole group of he did this with the women first, and then with a group of men later. So he got all the guys on the stage, and we had to choose who was the most masculine. And one guy, he looked pretty ordinary. He wasn't the most buff. He wasn't the one who got the ripped abs and all the rest of it. He won. So I went and talked to him later and said, what's the secret to your success? Because success leaves clues. And I went over and talked to him and found that what he was doing was, he said, well, I was brought up by a single mother, like I was. He said, I had only sisters there. Well, my mum had a restaurant, and all the people who worked there, they were all women. So I was in a female dominant, a female domain, as it were. So I said, what did you do? And what he did was, he said, okay, well, I made my role model, wait for it, The Rock. Yeah, great. I mean, this guy is amazingly masculine. So this masculinity also portrayed as confidence. So this, and that's why I'm saying for it, he was looking for masculinity, but he also got the confidence with it. And, if he wanted to go and talk to somebody, he'd take on the posture, he'd take on the way that the guy was walking, the way he would move. And he'd say, well, what would The Rock do in this situation? What would he say? So this is, if you want confidence, this is the quickest way to do it, to just imagine, just really believe that you are this other person, this person who's confident. What would you agree with that, John?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean,
you're an actor, so I mean, you know how it feels as you're going into being a person who's depressed, somebody who is not doing very well, somebody who's doing really good stuff.
Yes, fake it till you make it.
You're right.
So, I mean, this is the beauty that I'm so grateful for having the variation in my life in the entertainment industry, of learning to explore myself and different roles and different characters, to the point where you have to become that character, and you discover things about yourself where you would never normally go there, because it's not required of you unless you're performing a particular character. So you learn so much about yourself, which helps me tremendously as a coach to help understand, help people understand themselves, and to use role play to discover what we're capable of. We're capable of so much light and shade that makes us a better person. So it's like Shakespeare rightly said, the whole world's a stage and we're all actors. In fact, the only difference I've discovered, the only difference between so-called real life and acting is one, we just think of it as acting, and the other one, we take it too seriously. But if we were all in Hollywood with you right now, we'd all be up for Oscars.
That's right. Yeah. One thing I forgot to ask you is, would you say that you're a method actor? Because I guess you can really get into it if you're a method actor. Is that right?
Yeah, I've never done training in that area, because my training has been really by doing it from the age of 19.
Right.
Going on the stage, and primarily I've been more of a singer, a variety artist than an actor.
Artiste or artist?
Artist. Or artist, whichever one wants to say. Yeah, so it's the greatest school for self-discovery. So I love to work with people, as people that are in 9-to-5 jobs don't get to explore themselves like you do as an actor. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, they become afraid of doing so they back off an opportunity to explore self-confidence, because they're lacking in self-confidence, which is such a shame. So what I try and do is make a very safe arena where people can take baby steps in the beginning to begin to self-explore, self-discover, and then play different roles that bring out the opposite to their character that they're afraid of expressing.
Right. Okay. So you're using role play in a kind of a therapy scenario.
Especially with children. The children absolutely love it, and the
Yeah.
children learn and grow so fast when if they see me role playing them and their bad behavior, they just go, "Do I really look like that? Do I really sound like that? Yeah, that's
right. Right.
So it's a wake up call.
And it's interesting because I mean, I guess with adults, then, you know, if you show how an adult is appearing, then that's going to give you a real wake up call as well. But we wouldn't do that. I mean, if somebody imitates us, we don't like it. If somebody shows us, then, but it's a real fast track to moving.
Well, that's how I assess myself all the time. Because, you know, as a coach like I do, we go out and we watch other speakers, and we can see when somebody's not walking their talk in certain areas. So I know people look at me and they see the same, obviously. So I use that as my personal marker of listening to my own intuition. When I hear myself say something and I hear my intuition say, you need to pin that down a bit more. And I watch myself on camera. And the camera doesn't lie, it's true. You know, so you see every little kind of nervous inclination. So I use all of that as my own training.
Right. Yeah. And as a coach, it's like, I was at Business Mastery and I got coached by Tony Robbins in front of 2,000 people. I was busy answering a question to him, and Tony looked at me and he decided, I'm going to coach this guy. So, his comment to me was basically, you know, if you're going to coach, then don't coach something you have no knowledge of. If you've not gone through whatever you're talking about with the other person, then don't coach it. And I made an energetic promise to Tony Robbins at that moment, and it went in really deep, that is the way that I would be, you know, and I've been attaining towards that, but it just made it even firmer. And that's the greatest lesson that I got out of him. And from that, you get confidence as well. Because
from the experience.
Yeah, and you know what you're talking about. And, you know, if you don't know, then the best thing is to own up to it and, you know, let somebody who has got the experience, who's got the knowledge to come in.
Well, I always say to my clients or attendees in the training programs that we all teach what we most need to learn until we've learned it. Then we're a good coach, you know. But it's a journey, as you know. You know, every time I stand up, I say this is as much for me, as it is for you, because there's always going to be new things to learn.
Yeah,
I love it. It's such a constant exploration of self.
It's true. I mean, the interesting thing is that as an English guy, I went to Brazil teaching English, and my English improved so much by teaching. You know, I understand grammar now. My grammar is probably a heck of a lot better than most British people, because we don't go in at that depth, you know. And there was stuff that I was learning and I thought, oh my goodness, really? And, you know, I was having to correct myself and learn to speak proper, like, you know.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what.
Yeah, like what I do.
Yeah, like what you do.
Yeah, that's right.
Like what I used to do.
And Brazilian friends, if you're watching now, do not use these phrases. It's all wrong, guys. Okay,
not speaking English this way.
Yeah, don't speak English this way. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so what are other tools that we can use for confidence? Can you think of anything else?
I think that the toughest thing in the beginning is to begin to develop self-trust in new experiences.
Okay.
Because that's when we get most self-conscious and most nervous.
Right.
It means that's when we're most in our own way. Because we're so focused on, am I going to get it right? Will I get it wrong? What will people think? Blah, 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 blah. That our energy is caught up in that. So the energy is stuck on us. So obviously, even speaking with friends, a lot of people do this because of their lack of self-confidence. So even sitting with their friends, they're afraid to speak because they might think their friends know more than they do, or they're going to make a mistake and stuff like that. So what we don't realize is that energetically we're holding back. So we're not giving people anything to respond to, react to. So in the beginning, if you're in that kind of mode, it's very scary to the ego or the personality to take the first little steps of daring to speak. Just beginning to express yourself in the most scary moments, and that is a skill in itself. Is to develop, is to keep doing a little exercise like that, going out and putting yourself in line, and keep practicing until the confidence comes. Sadly, as I said before, most people stop at that point. They stop at their self-consciousness, and they don't find out what's on the other side, as you and I and other people like us have actually gone through those hoops and learned.
Yeah, I mean, and that's like with anything in life. It's it doesn't matter what you're talking about here, guys. It's like, every single situation, every new obstacle, you're going to treat the same. So if you learn this one skill in this situation, you can use it in all situations. I mean, being in front of a camera, I get a real buzz out of it. I love being in front of a microphone. You combine the two, and I'm really happy chappy. So, and I used to be absolutely petrified of this, completely petrified. And what worked for me was the first thing is familiarity. So the more time I'm in front of a camera, you just get used to it. It's just, it just becomes normal. But it's very strange when you realize that the little red light goes on or whatever. I mean, I remember being in Brazil, and I used to, I had a spot on a radio show every week, 30 minutes, speaking Portuguese. And I was absolutely petrified. I was honestly coming out in cold sweats. Now, I did a series of things using affirmations. I'd learned something with anchoring so that I could get myself into state. State just means to get yourself into an emotion. So emotionally, I'm feeling good. So I was using NLP to do this. And there's one affirmation I do. I did this exact practice before coming on. Whenever I'm going on to camera, even if I'm shooting privately at home, I do the same thing. And it just gets me into state, into this good vibration, this good energy. But this is like really, really important. I'm crying here. I'm so emotional about what we're talking about. I don't know what's happening. Anyway, but there are other things that you can do. I mean, a really good way is to just, I mean, this sounds really simple, but just put some music on, just something that you can dance to. And, this just gets you into another. It gets your chemistry moving, your dopamines and your serotonin, and it's just going to raise your vibration. I've heard of people going for interviews, and they'll get in the car, crank the music up really loud to the favorite tune, and just sing and sing and sing. And this is great for a couple of reasons. One is you're not going to be thinking about the interview, because as long as you're confident, you're going to answer the questions correctly. You're going to come, and you need to be confident. Who is going to employ? Who's going to be the most employable? It's going to be a person who's confident. So if you're coming in there radiating joy and happiness and, hey, how you doing? You're probably going to get the job, unless you're going to a job which is very somber and serious.
It's about authenticity. That's the art at the end of the day.
Right.
I did a commercial for over here, and we were 3 weeks away filming in Greece and Portugal. And
Wow,
so
nice.
I got a chance to speak to the director, which we don't get to do very often.
Mhm.
So I said to him over dinner one day, would you mind telling me, like, how do you guys make your choice? Because like there's a group of us, you had to put us together as a family, had to cast us all together. And so he said, yeah, well, he said, as soon as you walked through the door, I'd made my choice.
Wow.
So I went, wow, like, based on what? And he said, because you walked through the door, you said hello to us all as if you'd known us forever.
Wow.
You didn't, you weren't in a place where you were like trying or pushing or looked really hungry and desperately needed the job. So he said, I look at that and then I look at my team and think, I've got to spend 3 weeks with this guy. He's comfortable in his own skin, so I'm not going to have problems with him. And then I had to do my piece, and he liked what I did as well. So that's how I got the job. But and that was tremendous feedback. And I've also, of course, at different times had the opposite feedback when I've gone in and I haven't prepared myself properly, and I've been self-conscious and I've been nervous and I didn't get the job.
Right. So this shows how it shows how important this is to get yourself prepared before and get
This
yourself
preparation. Well, it's like today for this, I prepared. I went out to the bookshop and I was going to buy this book, 1,001 Ways to Develop Your Confidence and Self-Esteem. I couldn't bring myself to buy it in case the shop assistant laughed at me.
Why would she laugh at you?
It's a joke.
Okay. You're too good at this. Too good an actor. I thought, what's he telling me here? I thought you were going to read from it and say, oh look, let's do number 137 today. It says got additional material. I was going to say, let's buy that one. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, there's no such book as this. It's all, I mean, basically confidence is in the mind. A lot of people, I believe, make a mistake of, I think that if you are looking for confidence by your approval of others, then, this is a slippery slope for several reasons. Yeah. One of them is that you need, the confidence comes from inside you. It's not about what other people think. If it did, I mean, can you imagine how it would be if you were looking at other people for making you feel good? It's like, how would it be with like Taylor Swift, and if she was bothered about people getting upset about what color lipstick she wears? This is like, she'd have no confidence at all.
We all do that, because we've not been schooled properly in what it means to take personal responsibility for our thoughts, for our beliefs, for our emotional choices and behavior. Right. So this is where Paul was such a great teacher for me in developing my sense of character and sense of humility. And he stripped me of the primadonna performer by simply saying to me sometimes, don't be on stage all the time.
Wow.
And that was a killer, because it made me think, well, but what does he mean? People pay me thousands of pounds for being this John. Right. And now there's somebody who I admire and respect and who's very spiritually aware saying to me, yeah, I don't want that. Don't do that. Be real. So the first time he did that to me, I was so shocked that I literally went away. It took me 3 days to wonder, why did he say that? Why would he say that to me when I get paid to do this? I spent all these years developing this character and persona. And now somebody's telling me, it's not real. Go away. Don't bring that here.
And when somebody comes with that, then you get all sorts of little demons in your head and saying, oh, what the heck does he know anyway? It's like, people are paying him lots of money and he doesn't know anything. I know more than he does,
Oh, you've been there, have you?
Yeah, I invented it, mate. I've got a book, 1,001 Ways to... You can get it on Amazon, everybody. So, no, joking, everybody. But it's, I mean, it is interesting. It's all about, I think we do have different personalities, if you like, for different situations. I get that. But there is a core us, a core person in us.
Yeah.
And it is, it's interesting. I think you use the word responsibility
Yes.
to start showing that more.
Yeah.
And it's like in the world of social media, in the world of internet marketing, etc. It's really important. You talk about finding your tribe, finding your followers. It's all about being authentic, being yourself. And this is something that I've gone in stages of doing. And I realized, well, there are people who like me for who I am. I just gradually started, I can't help being who I am.
Yeah.
If you watch some of my early videos, I'm pretty stiff, and I'm not, as humorous. I'm kind of, I'm holding back. And then, you're part of your personality where you are a humorous person. You crack jokes or you laugh at the wrong moment. That's part of who I am, and people seem to like that. And I got people who were constantly coming back and watching, and I thought, yes, okay, I can be myself. There are people who appreciate me, so why be any different? Why try to please other people? There's no point.
It's an interesting, I mean, having studied our spiritual nature, the psychology of that, and looked at that in my own life, as that's what was missing for me as a human being in my life, and I'd exchanged it for being the performer and the star and the money and all of that kind of stuff. So to encounter somebody like Paul, who gave me the correct slapping down that I needed and the right guidance to start getting real and authentic in that soul searching of who am I really? Who am I really? Am I just this actor, singer, performer? So who is this real person that I'm trying to find, and look for in all of this, and then making mistakes by thinking, I'm only the talent, or I'm only the intelligence, or all of that kind of stuff, when we are so much more, when we develop the ability to be true to ourselves. And that's actually what the scriptures say. And I don't know if you're familiar with these, I'm sure you are, but there's a tradition called the ancient mystery schools through Egypt and all of the formerly highly developed cultures. And they had initiation temples, people like you and I, where we would have to go in and meet ourselves and pass the tests of integrity. And over the top of the door was always written, know thyself, know yourself. And that was the test for the whole life. So here we are, all in school, discovering who am I really, and how do I be true to that, rather than all the ideas of my character and my personality and my roles.
Yeah, exactly. In Buddhism, I studied a lot of Buddhism, and I lived in Buddhist communities in England and in Brazil for many years. And the principal thing is you're mind watching. You're watching your own mind, and it's most of the time we're looking outward and we're looking at what other people are doing, and it's a case of like, oh, this person's doing this wrong, or why don't they do this? And oh, if I was in that situation, I'd do the other. This is completely meaningless, and it's not going to do anything beneficial. Because one, you're not the other person. You don't know what's going on in their life, and you probably don't have the tools to be able to help them. The one person you can help is yourself. And you can go inwardly and work on your own stuff. And it's like whatever is you see on the outside world, it's looking at, well, what is that triggering inside of me, and taking responsibility and working on that. That's the only meaningful thing to do. And then it's interesting because as you change yourself, your relationship with other people and the way that they react to you changes. And we're energetically changing by doing this, and that is going to have an energetic change on others and help them.
Carry on for a second, because my laptop battery is about to die and I just need to plug it in. So I'm just going to pop out.
Okay. Yeah, go and find your battery charger.
I'll be back. I'll go to the bookshop, get that book.
There you go. Yeah, go get the book. So, Yeah, so confidence is, like I say, something extremely important. One other component of this, which is extremely important, is, of course, posture. And if you can get into a state where you are depressed very easily by, if you tip your head forward and you're slouching, you're breathing shallow. If you do that for long enough, it doesn't matter how how happy you are, you're going to start bringing yourself down. You're going to start bringing yourself into a depression if you do it for long enough. So the opposite is, posture is important. So sit upright, shoulders back, your head up. This is going to give confidence. So this is an important feature. Oh, there you go. John's back again. So
Yeah,
you got your charger in?
Plugged in.
Excellent. Well done. Well done.
Just for your listeners, some of the simple things that are key to being comfortable in your own skin is breathing. It's proper breathing, and exactly. And that's the central key. We tend to miss that one, again, because we're not exposed to that kind of awareness every day. We're head bound, and we're like chickens with the head cut off, chasing the thoughts of, I've got to do this and I've got to do that, I must do this, blah, blah, blah. Instead of having developed a mindfulness and a bodily habit of the mind sitting comfortably in the body with the breath.
Yes.
A really fast way to calm yourself down if you're feeling nervous is to keep it dead simple. You can just sit with your friends or wherever you are. I do this before I go out on stage. Take a moment, be still, get quiet, and just count my breath. 1, 2, 3, in, hold for 4, and count out 1, 2, 3. Whatever rhythm you want that works for you. And at the same time, what you're just saying is to notice. So when I'm nervous, I notice my shoulders go up a bit, the tension comes in, and if I make myself aware, I notice I'm shallow breathing or I'm panic breathing. Right? So personal responsibility for me is I have to take responsibility for that.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be energetically in that place for me personally, and I don't want to bring that to other people.
Yeah, there's two really great points there. One is that, we need to focus on ourselves and focus on our state meaning emotion. And so if we're dropping, we need to get out of it as quick as possible. It's like, don't stay depressed. You're not going to do any use if you're depressed, you're not feeling good. This needs to be a key thing. We can wallow around in ourselves in depression and feeling sorry for ourselves and comforting ourselves this way, but it doesn't work. It's not a good idea. So do what it takes to get yourself out of it. Go for a walk. The breathing's important, or whatever. But back to the breathing.
Yeah.
The thing is that there's so much stuff out of there where everybody wants to learn something new.
Yeah.
And this constantly annoys me because it's just full of waffle and nonsense.
Yeah.
It's the simple stuff which is really powerful and is really going to make big change. And
that is the key to everything.
Yes. Keep it simple.
The simplicity of actually bringing everything if you've learned a lot of these things, into the body and applying it. So there's a really nice ancient Chinese saying, to know but not to do is not to know.
Exactly.
Right. And exactly. So, we've certainly been through that and still going through it, is to develop the skill to recognize, I know that, but just because I mentally know it doesn't mean my body and my life experience knows it. So I need to bring those thoughts more into the body and apply them on every level through action.
Yeah, action is essential. And folks, anybody listening and watching this, if there's anything in here that's of any use that you found inspirational, please put it into practice and work out a time when you can go and do it. Like, when would now be the right time. You know, just go out and do it. Otherwise, it's just pretty words and you've enjoyed it and you come out of it and said, oh, well, that was really nice. And you've had some entertainment. But the best way is to make this powerful and put something into action and start saying, okay, before I go to a meeting, I'm going to really focus on my breathing and get myself calm and get myself in state, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's the simple changes, you stack them, get into good habits and stack them one on top of the other, which make massive changes.
Yeah.
The breathing is incredibly important.
It's the key.
It is. I remember in Brazil, I had my own English language school, and there were some hairy moments having a business, a brick and mortar business. I remember one day something extremely, extremely bad was happening for the school, and I just got news of it. And I went into a panic attack, you know, and my whole body I could feel it shutting down. And a little voice in my head just said, just breathe. And I did that. I just said, I did this like 3 times, really deep breaths. I was in front of other people I didn't care. And I got myself back just by breathing.
Yeah.
You know?
It's the connection, because as soon as we breathe and breathe properly, we've connected the mind back into the body. We're not just mind out there in thinking about whatever that stress factor looks like, you know, and that's personal responsibility. One story I'll tell you that might be helpful to the listeners, and then maybe we can bring it to a close. Was after I spent 6 months with Paul in America, this was too, in our school in America, learning just about personal responsibility, not being a victim of your own thoughts and other people's beliefs and attitudes. So I spent 6 months hearing this every day, studying and getting some hard lessons. Came back to England, and the only thing I knew to earn some money was to go back into show business. So I said to my agent, just get me an easy show, because I'm rusty. So he got me this show, and it was in a miners' club in Wales.
Oh, wow.
A social club. And I had to take my old life, if you like, that I'd been taking off for 6 months, out of the closet and put on my old stage suit, the white stage suit, and that it was in those days, get the music out. And I had an hour's show, and it was all to music, the jokes and everything. So I arrived 4 hours down in the valley, and I go into this club, and I said to the chap, you know, where's my musicians? Oh, he said, well, here's your pianist. And there was this little old man, and I could tell immediately that he couldn't read music. But because of what I'd been studying, I didn't have the heart to embarrass him. Right. So I said, where's the drummer? Oh, he said, he's coming. And then this young boy turned up, and he says, oh, hello. He said, I'm Glenn. He said, this is the first time I'm playing in public.
Wow.
So this was so interesting, because my primadonna came back. And I'm sitting, I'm standing there, and they're going through this in myself of thinking, God, you know, it's like, I was a star. It's like, what the hell have I got myself into now? Then I'm thinking, personal responsibility. Come on, be responsible, be spiritual. Anyway, I went out on the stage. I could not understand a note of what they were playing. In those days, everybody smoked in the clubs, so I couldn't see the audience hardly through this mist of cigarette smoke. And then they didn't even look up anyway. So I'm trying to sing to this noise going on behind me and make some jokes. And I'm thinking, this is a disaster, and all my old habits are coming back. Oh, you know, should I walk off stage? So, anyway, and then again, I remembered all Paul's voice for 6 months, personal responsibility, take responsibility, please. So I turned round to the guys. They thought I was going to tell them off, but I started joking with them. And then after we were having a bit of fun, I noticed the audience was noticing. And I turned around to the audience and I made the deepest decision I'd made in my whole career because of that training. So prior to that, the audience were the enemy that had to be conquered. In this moment, I got my mind to take everything I'd learned and known mentally. I put it into my breath, I put it into my heart, and I made a physical decision. I take total responsibility for the fact that I actually want to be here and enjoy myself. Change everything.
Beautiful.
Great lesson.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
Breathe, relax, enjoy. Breathe, relax, enjoy, and be true to what you want in that moment.
And that is like a recipe for a successful life.
Yeah.
Just do that.
Yeah.
Just do that in everything that you do.
It's very simple when we get it, but it takes us a long time to get it because we're not exposed to that kind of thinking every day in our currently unenlightened cultures.
Yeah. But when it goes in, it's really deep. But I mean, you can do, if you're living that in everything, whether you're going to visit friends, you're going out for dinner, whether if you're coaching, whatever you're doing, that's exactly what you need to do. Beautiful. Thank you. So thank you so much for being on, John. This has been absolutely amazing. I would love to do another Facebook Live in the future.
Yeah, me too.
Great. Awesome.
It's great to reconnect with you, Andy. And
likewise, my friend.
you're out there doing good work.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.
Just in case, actually, in case any of your listeners live in Virginia way or Houston way, I'm going to be in Virginia in December. And I'm going to be in Houston in March.
Great. Yeah, and hopefully you'll come and visit LA at some point.
I hope to at some point, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be really awesome. Let's see what we can do. And how can people get in contact with you, John?
Yeah, they can go to the website, which is lifebalanceportal.com, because that's what we've all got to get together nowadays, is that balance, like you were saying, Tony Robbins is dealing with. We have to know what it means to be in balance with ourselves in our lives. Right. So lifebalanceportal.com.
Is that correct? I've spelt it all right?
I think it's one L.
One L, okay.
So you spell like me. You've got lexixia like I am.
Well, I get really confused because it's like, American spelling and British spelling.
Yeah.
That's my excuse anyway. And it's like, it's havoc now. I don't know how to spell anything.
It's also john@lifebalanceportal.com.
Okay, great. Yeah. So that's how to email you.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Great. Well, thank you so much, my friend. So that's been our transatlantic Facebook Live.
Yes.
How about that? So, yeah, thanks, John. And let's keep in contact.
Yeah, and keep up the good work, Andy.
You too, my friend. You too. Thank you. Bye for now.
Thanks to all the listeners who ever tuned in there for being with us.
That's right. Thank you, everybody.
Bye for now.